Welcome to Cole's Column, your channel to hear the news that goes unreported. Today, our topic is one of the most undertaught and is also one of the most biggest atrocities to have occurred in our society. What I'm talking about is Stalin's Great Purge, also known as the Baltic Purge or the Great Terror. Our generation knows about such things as the Holocaust, which many know as Hitler's genocide of the Jewish community in Germany and Europe in general. This started in 1940 and continued until Nazi Germany's defeat in 1945. 6 million Jews were killed. That is like if the entire population of Seattle was killed 10 times. Now, in the years prior to the beginning of the Holocaust, another horrible crime against humanity was being commenced, the Baltic Purges. From 1936 to 1938, a mass purge of the Communist Party went underway, followed by a repression of non-Russian-born Russian citizens, which included arrests, executions, and mass deportations to Siberia and northern Russia. In total, about 1.2 million people were murdered by the Soviet government. These mass deportations continued until 1953, and an estimated 6.6 million people of varying ethnicities were victims of this. Joseph Stalin faced both pressures and threats from inside and outside the Soviet Union. Inside the Soviet Union, he faced pressures with famine and drought, which caused riots in the peasants. And outside the Soviet Union, he faced pressures from Nazi Germany and the annexation of Czechoslovakia. So, why did Joseph Stalin commence these mass deportations of over 6 million people? The answer is really quite simple. He was paranoid. He didn't want these fifth column communities to act in a role of espionage or sabotage. And honestly, he realized that the only way to make sure that this doesn't happen is if he gets rid of them, whether that be killing them or sending them off to Siberia. What they did is they commenced these things called night raids by the NKVD, which is the Soviet secret police. And with these night raids, they'd rush into a neighborhood, capture hundreds of people at a time, and then leave, all within the span of a couple hours in the dead of the night. And so in the mornings, when the rest of the neighborhood would wake up, the portion of the neighborhood that was raided would just be gone, and they'd cease to exist. And those people were rarely heard from ever again. These people were then taken by truck across the country, and this would take days, if not months, because they had to go over rough terrain, the mountains, the biggest mountain chain in the Soviet Union, which was the Ural Mountains, and they had to cross these. Many people died on the way to the camps themselves, and then even more died in the camps. Almost like the Jewish people when they were captured and sent to the death camps and work camps by Hitler, but not on that big of a scale. Stalin had no regards towards a person's social status. Anyone can fall victim to the purge or deportations. Here are some victims of the purge. Nikolai Abramov, Russian, born in 1890. He was only a collective farm foreman, had no party affiliation, and only a primary education. He was arrested on October 5th, 1937, sentenced to death on October 17th, and executed on October 21st, 1937. Alexandra Chubar, an Armenian, born in 1903. She had a higher education and no party affiliation. She was a consultant to the People's Commissariat of Light Industry. Also lived in Moscow. She was arrested on July 4th, 1938, and then sentenced to death and executed on August 28, 1938. Gavril Bogdanov, Russian, born in 1888. He had a primary education, no party affiliation, and was only a mere laborer. He was arrested on August 8, 1937, sentenced to death on August 19, 1937, and executed the day after, August 20th, 1937. Boris Rosenfeld, a Russian Jew, born in 1908. He had a higher education, no party affiliation, and was an engineer of the Mosenergo Company. He lived in Moscow. He was arrested on January 31st, 1935, sentenced to 5 years imprisonment, transported from Moscow on April 12, 1937. He was then sentenced to death and executed on July 13, 1937. I hope you understand the significance of the Great Purge and how its effect on history changes our views on how a government can turn on its citizens in an instant. This has been the Cole Column. I'm Cole Wheeler, signing out.